boy, we just got finished watching the Royal Rumble, and let me tell you, I loved it. That was so much fun. Indianapolis, you guys showed up and showed out. What a night. My goodness, so much to get into. My name is Conman167. We are live on YouTube and Twitch right now, and we're going to do an immediate reaction right after the Royal Rumble. Our thoughts about literally everything. There was 4 matches on the night, 2 Royal Rumble matches, a tag team title match, and a ladder match for the WWE Championship. And oh my God, everything was awesome. Let's start right out of the gate with the main talking point that everybody is going to want to get into. No, John Cena didn't win the Royal Rumble. No, CM Punk didn't win the Royal Rumble. No, The Rock didn't win the Royal Rumble. No, it wasn't Drew McIntyre. It wasn't like Kevin Owens for some reason. It wasn't anybody. It wasn't Logan Paul. It wasn't Sami Zayn. Folks, main event Uso is truly going to the main event, and it looks like he might be finishing his own damn story against Gunther. Like, we are going to see Jey Uso fight for a world title at WrestleMania. I don't even... Look, we were down to the final 2, okay? Cena and Jey. And right out of the gate, I'm just thinking, like, I'm happy. I couldn't tell you another time where we got, like, right down to the final bit, and I'm sitting there like, I'm happy with whoever wins. I do not care whoever wins. What? You go right ahead. Whoever you want, let them win, because I was happy. And, like, I think I felt that way all the way into the final 6 as well, right? Like, if you looked at that final 6 right there, it was everybody that Triple H tried to make feel like they were going to actually win the Royal Rumble, and that's exactly what he did. Those 6 right there all had a reason. They all had like a rhyme for winning this Rumble, and they all gave us their reason beforehand as well. It wasn't like they just showed up in the Rumble and was like, oh, we're just gonna mess around and then not tell the story we want to tell going into WrestleMania. No, they actually had a clear-cut story for everybody going into the Rumble. So just incredible. But from start to finish, I don't even know what to say other than that was one of my favorite Royal Rumble events ever. I can't remember a time where I'd been so invested in the first Royal Rumble match, then invested in the next match after that, and then blown away by a WWE Championship match, and then once again invested start to finish in the Men's Royal Rumble. Let's start off, though, at the beginning of the show. Let's talk about the Women's Royal Rumble winner. We'll get into the rest in just a hot minute, but if we get into this right here, we have to start with none other than Charlotte Flair. Okay, Charlotte Flair returning to WWE, returning to a big ovation from the crowd, and honestly, looked great. I know a lot of people going into this weren't a big fan of the idea of Charlotte Flair not being a surprise return, not being the person who is like just gonna pop the crowd that night, right? People wanted to be surprised by Charlotte Flair's return, and then when the Royal Rumble, they announced that she was going to be in it, they're just like, oh, well, shit, okay, I'm not a big fan of this, right? I don't want to see this anymore. I wanted to be surprised by Charlotte. And then people were always like, oh, okay, well, this is going in a direction of it's going to be Charlotte winning the Royal Rumble, and she's going to go on to WrestleMania, and she's going to fight for a title, and she's going to probably beat somebody for a title at Mania. But I look at it this way. I personally think that Charlotte Flair winning this Royal Rumble is the beginning of trying to make her the most hated heel in WWE. The way that she was presented going into the Royal Rumble with all this flair and all that about her, leaning into her history and her past, they are making you want to hate Charlotte Flair. Sure, she was back and she was going to get a great ovation, but like, they want you to hate Charlotte Flair. And I think they accomplished it here tonight, at least the first steps. The next steps are going to be making her the most arrogant, pompous piece of shit on the roster, and then going into WrestleMania, facing Tiffany Stratton for the title, and beating her. Now, I know immediately you're going to probably be like, Con, F off. We don't want to see that. Why would you want to see Tiffany Stratton lose to Charlotte at WrestleMania? Well, because of the chase. I think Tiffany has a bright future as a babyface, and seeing Charlotte versus Tiffany at SummerSlam could main event night 1 if you build it up right. And I think that's the direction we're going. So if we go in the direction of seeing Charlotte Flair win the title at Mania, and then Tiffany get the title back at SummerSlam, we're creating an incredible chase for Tiffany and should probably get her over as a next level babyface. But that wasn't it in the Royal Rumble, okay? Obviously, we could talk about Charlotte Flair winning the thing till we're blue in the face, but there was so many other incredible surprises. Let's start with the returning Alexa Bliss. What? Little Miss Bliss, you little trickster, you led us to believe that you were not going to be with WWE, that your contract talks were far apart, and that it didn't look like you were going to actually be there. Well, you fooled all of us. We were speculating going into it, and then a lot of people just kind of lost faith in the idea that Alexa Bliss would be back in the Royal Rumble. And Lord behold, there she is, rocking a beautiful jacket. What did it say, live chat? Was it Fiend Forever? Something like that? I'm pretty sure that's what the back of her jacket said. But seeing Alexa Bliss come out, it said Alexa Bliss 21 on the screen. And I'm not sure if you noticed that, but that got me thinking, are we maybe seeing like not necessarily a 3 Faces of Foley gimmick for Alexa Bliss, but we could be seeing something like that. Like, what if she's got her Sparkle character from the past, and then she's got Alexa Bliss 21? Maybe there is an Alexa Bliss 25 or something like that, and it's just the next evolution of her character. It could very well be in that direction, and if that's the case, I would love that for Alexa Bliss. Like, Alexa is in a weird place because she's still affiliated with the Wyatt Six because of her affiliation with Bray Wyatt. But we don't know if she's actually going to be a part of that story in the future, right? And if they want to lean into Alexa Bliss with the Wyatts, they opened up that door here tonight with her coming back in this gimmick, the one that said Fiend Forever. That could be a way to connect Bo Dallas back to Alexa, and maybe there's some more stuff that happens coming out of that. Or maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's just the way to reintroduce Alexa Bliss because this is the familiar character that you're used to seeing, and then all of a sudden we're going to change things up and give Alexa Bliss a new story in a new direction. It's possible. We also saw a crazy return, I guess you could say, or debut. I don't even know really how to classify this. Jordynne Grace looking like $1 million, the former Impact Knockouts champion, coming on over from TNA. We saw her a little bit in NXT, but now here she is on the main roster, or at least seems like potentially on the main roster, because we could be building to Jordynne Grace fighting for the NXT championship. It did seem like that was a possibility coming out of this Rumble. But Jordynne looked like $1 million again. I think that she looked absolutely incredible. The strength from her. And also, there was a moment where Charlotte Flair and Jordynne Grace interacted in the ring. I need to see that match, okay? That match needs to be a thing right after Flair is done with Tiffany and all that going into WrestleMania. If that is who she chooses, she could choose somebody else. She could choose Rhea for all we know. But I would love to see Jordynne Grace versus Charlotte Flair in the near future. It'd be incredible. I also want to say that the Women's Royal Rumble crushed it again. I think every year that I've watched the Women's Royal Rumble, there has never been one that I left disappointed. I didn't think that the Rumble was bad at all. I always find that the surprises and the way that the stories are built in the Women's Royal Rumble are very, very well done because they need to tell better stories in order to get people to be as invested in some characters that maybe they're not as always invested in, right? So the way that they built that up throughout the entire thing, the Women's Royal Rumble, almost perfection. Honestly, it was so well done. Loved everything about it. And also the crazy part is that I actually, take a look at this here. If I can show you. I was pretty close with my guesses for the Women's Royal Rumble, okay? Like, I didn't get every single entrant right, but like, look at that. That's pretty good, man. That's pretty good. Like, going all the way down, I'm pretty impressed, honestly. I'm apparently just pretty. I'm gonna say pretty a lot. Pretty. But I made some pretty good decisions, not gonna lie. Yeah, Conman just tooting his own horn, okay? It is what it is. But I don't know if there's really much more to say about the Women's Rumble. Everybody involved in it was deserving to be in that thing. And I really think that they showed up, showed out, and showed once again why the women's division is must-see TV. Oh, I also forgot to mention Roxanne Perez was called up, and it looked like that she is going to be one of the biggest mainstays and biggest call-ups from NXT in the history, because Roxanne Perez set a record for staying in the Royal Rumble for the longest ever. All right, so longest ever or longest in women's history, chat? Okay, in women's history, but still an incredible record being set right there by Roxanne Perez. And the fact that she was second last eliminated, or I guess last eliminated technically, she's just, WWE sees so many things, such a bright future for Roxanne Perez. There's really not much more to say about it other than future women's champion. She's so young, so talented, and looked incredible. All right, let's get into the tag team title match. We had DIY versus Motor City Machine Guns in a 2 out of 3 falls matchup. Now, the crowd was dead. There's no way to put it other than that. The crowd was dead for this match, and they started to come alive for the third fall, but for the first 2 falls, you could tell they were gassed from the previous Royal Rumble. There was so much going on in that, and there was so many pops and great moments, and just things that the crowd reacted to, that they were gassed and done for this match. It took, like I said, until the third fall before they really started coming alive. The first fall went to DIY after the Ciampa hit a brutal knee, and then the next fall, I'm struggling to remember. It was obviously to Motor City Machine Guns. Oh, right. It was the Skull and Bones from the top rope. They hit that Skull and Bones, picked up the second fall, and then we were on to the third. The third really is when the match started to come together so well, as most 2 out of 3 falls matches tend to go. It was a really well-worked match. And in the end, after a crazy distraction and heel turn question mark from the Street Profits attacking Motor City Machine Guns, DIY picked up the win. Only then for the Street Profits to attack DIY after, so they're not heel, or they are, or they're somewhere in the middle. I don't really know. But hey, Street Profits are back. It looks like that they're going to resume whatever it was that they were doing in the tag team division, and it looks like we are going to get DIY versus Street Profits in the near future, but we're also going to get DIY, or sorry, I guess I should say Motor City Machine Guns versus Street Profits as well in the future. Lots of cool matches there in the tag division. SmackDown's done a wonderful job at rebuilding their tag division from the ground up. And still, like I said, your tag team champions, DIY. But now, do we talk about what I think might be match of the year so far? The at least spot fest of the year in WWE. The ladder match between Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship and the Winged Eagle belt as well. Both titles hung high above the ring, and there was so much carnage. I thought it was actually a TLC match going into this thing, and my live chat was yelling at me that, Con, it's not a TLC, and I would have been so wrong if I went into that match expecting it to be a TLC match, because there was nothing but ladders used. Ladder City, man. Cody Rhodes crashing through a ladder. Cody Rhodes crashing through another ladder. Kevin Owens crashing through a ladder. Kevin Owens getting hit with like a back body drop on a ladder. That was sick. But the match and the story really took place towards the end, after Kevin Owens hit a brutal fisherman's buster or fisherman's suplex onto a ladder. That's when the match kind of went cold. Cody was down, Kevin was down, referees and medical professionals and all that came on out to the ringside area, and so did Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn showed up, checked on Kevin Owens, checked on Cody Rhodes, and we're starting to ask ourselves, what's Sami doing out here? Why are you out here, man? And it was never really revealed why Sami Zayn was out there. He was just checking on Kevin. He was just checking on Cody. And it looked like after Cody Rhodes decided to end the match. Let's backtrack. Cody Rhodes jumps up top of the announce table, hits a brutal Alabama slam onto Kevin Owens through the ladder. Kevin Owens folds like, I don't know, what folds? A deck of cards? A folding chair? What else folds? What else folds? A card, a deck chair, a flip phone, a book. He folded. And then that allowed Cody Rhodes to climb up the ladder, retain the title, as Sami Zayn just is literally watching onwards. Sami Zayn, I thought for sure he was going to stop Cody, or I thought maybe after Cody pulled down the titles, he was going to flip the ladder over or something like that. An omelet folds. I thought he was going to maybe just take out Cody Rhodes right after the match, but no, that didn't happen. He was there by Kevin Owens' side. And I think the coolest part about this little story going on between Cody Rhodes and Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, and what's the dynamic between Sami and Kevin, is that Sami hasn't really shown that he is behind Kevin Owens throughout this. But he's been there, right? He's been there. He's not necessarily taking his side and saving him and doing things for Kevin Owens that, maybe the fans wouldn't love, but he is there for his friend. He was there to check on him when he was hurt. And I think that tells the story that Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are going to be okay. They're going to be on the same page. And I wonder if maybe there's a longer term outlook here with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Obviously, one of the things that I think could happen is that this could lead to a story that somehow we get Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn, whether that be at WrestleMania or in their home country in Canada at Elimination Chamber. We could be moving in that direction, but what if we're not? What if we are just having friendship being shown on screen, that Sami and Kevin are still good on screen, and this is part of like a bigger story at play? You got to remember, a year from now is the next Royal Rumble. It's the Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia, or at least I think it's rumored. I'm not sure if it's confirmed, but the Saudi Arabian Royal Rumble is probably next year, and I wonder if Sami Zayn winning that Royal Rumble is something they're going to do, because that reaction for Sami Zayn in Saudi Arabia winning a Rumble would be nuclear. It would be amazing. And if they built it up right, they could have Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn next year for a title. at WrestleMania if they do the proper build over a year. Do I think they're going to do that? No, I think at some point they're going to pull the trigger here on the road to WrestleMania, and it's either Kevin versus Sami at Mania, or it's Kevin versus Sami at Elimination Chamber, and Randy Orton returns at Elimination Chamber, costing Kevin Owens the match, building to a match between Randy Orton and Kevin Owens at WrestleMania. I kind of thought this through. But in the end, Cody Rhodes retains his title. Great match. Definitely worth watching. Crazy, crazy spots all across the board. And it's just great match between Kevin and Cody. All right. And that brings us back here to our main event. You already know who won, but let's talk about how this all went down. I could talk from number 1 to number 30 and all that, but let's just hit the Spark Notes version. Let's talk from the final 6 onwards, except for Joe Hendry, who did randomly show up. And I believe in Joe Hendry. Oh, wait, CM Punk. Apparently I'm just a mark. I just have a CM Punk shirt over top as well. Do I not have a J? Hey, look, how big of a mark am I, boys? All my favorites won here today. Yeah, ridiculous. But let's talk about from the final 6 onwards, okay? Joe Hendry was back. It was cool. Great spot, great moment, great reaction. Crowd sang for him. There was other cool moments as well throughout the night. But seeing John Cena, Jey Uso, Drew McIntyre, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins in that ring. Were they in the finals? Oh, it was Logan Paul that was in the final 6. Sorry, Drew McIntyre was just before that. Seeing those 6 in the ring was just, it was perfect because WWE built this up the entire way through. They built up why each one of those guys needed to win the Royal Rumble, and they gave a real reason, and they gave a pitch. This was basically their WrestleMania story pitch. Everybody was like, come on in, make a pitch for WrestleMania, write a promo, sell us on the idea of you at WrestleMania, and then we'll make our decision. But the fact that they were able to give them every reason why we should believe that they win the Royal Rumble made us actually believe that anybody could win the Royal Rumble in those final 6. And honestly, the way that it went was incredibly shocking. I'm also being reminded by my live chat that I Show Speed was in the Royal Rumble, and like, what? What? Speed in the Rumble? What? Okay, great spot though. Cool moment. Speed, man, you took a hell of a bump. But the wildest moment of this entire night was when Logan Paul eliminated, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins. Was it all in one go, live chat? Am I remembering that right? But after Logan Paul eliminated them, we saw Punk, Rollins, and Reigns on the floor. The 3 of them were arguably the 3 favorites to win other than John Cena. And then just, I don't even know what just happened. Did we start building to a triple threat match at WrestleMania? Seth Rollins stomping Reigns, Punk and Rollins fighting. We got Reigns and Punk. There was a whole concoction of issues going on right there that it feels like maybe we might get a crazy triple threat of Rollins versus Punk versus Reigns at WrestleMania. And if that is the match that we end up getting at WrestleMania, some sort of triple threat, I mean, my God, that is crazy. And then you go back into the ring and you see Logan Paul, John Cena, and Jey Uso. Yeah, sure, a lot of us probably had John Cena in our final 4. I don't know many people that had Jey Uso and Logan Paul in the final 3. I don't think anybody could have predicted that, and to WWE's credit, it was unpredictable. This year's Royal Rumble was incredibly unpredictable. I couldn't tell you who I truly thought was going to win. I had my ideas. I was thinking CM Punk or John Cena could win. I didn't have Jey Uso. But the fact that they actually had Jey Uso win after he has been one of the most over wrestlers in WWE for how long, with some of the craziest reactions, getting merch sales through the roof. The dude is moving money for WWE. Why wouldn't you reward him? And if you look at the story that we've been telling with Jey Uso, this really does feel like the right call. It still feels like you can get to any title match that you want for Reigns, Punk, or Seth Rollins, or John Cena. If you wanted to go to any title match with those 4, you can without them winning the Royal Rumble. But Jey Uso getting that Gunther match at WrestleMania, or the World Heavyweight title, let's just be real, we don't know if Gunther gets out of the chamber still as champion. But the fact that they gave Jey Uso that match at WrestleMania, guaranteed him a spot at Mania, tells us that WWE sees him as a main event player, and they are committed to making main event Jey Uso a true main event guy. And the first steps we're truly taking tonight. Giving Jey a massive win like that. The shock on his face. The shock on John Cena's face. Just No one saw this coming. And like, of course, people are going to be upset. I know I'm going to have comments down below. I can see my live chat right now saying they didn't all love it. And that's okay. The wrestling is so subjective. It does not matter what we thought, okay? If we liked it or didn't like it, the fact of the matter is that we reacted to it and that we're invested in the story moving forward. As long as we're invested in what WWE is putting out there, I think we can always get back to matches we may want by just being vocal about it, right? If you're upset that Jey Uso won the Royal Rumble, I want you to ask yourself the question, why are you upset? Is it because you wanted CM Punk to win, or is it because you wanted John Cena to win, or is it because you wanted Roman Reigns to win? Then just take a deep breath, because those guys are main eventers and they can still get to WrestleMania without it. Jey Uso was on the bubble, and if they wanted Jey to be a main eventer, they needed to give him this win. It was the right call. As crazy it is to say, with that star-studded of a Royal Rumble, it was the right call. So now that means the road to WrestleMania is officially underway. I didn't even talk about Nikki Bella being number 30 in the Women's Royal Rumble. I didn't even, there's so much more we could have gone into. That's why we do these live streams, and that's why you can always join us on YouTube or Twitch, whether we are watching Raw, SmackDown, NXT, or a PLE. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed. Click like if you liked this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. And be sure to come on back every single day, because we upload wrestling videos every single day. Thanks for watching, and Jey Uso is going to WrestleMania.